You see the suit, so you know what time it is. That's right, all you minties. I am the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I'm going to be announcing two brand new Marvel Omnis coming out in May and June of 2025. So let's go ahead and get started. This video is sponsored by Marvel Comics, so thank you so much to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us advance notice of both of these Omnis coming out in May and in June of 2025. Now, this particular announcement will have something old, something new, well, you'll see. Something borrowed, sure, one of the stories, okay, and something blue, definitely something blue. On my thumbnails and on the video, sometimes I wear ties just because I enjoy them. My wife gave me a bunch of Marvel ties, but you know, people look into the ties a lot, and I always tell people ignore the ties, please, because sometimes they're not hints. Most of the time, they're not hints. I just like wearing a red tie, or I like wearing an X-Men tie, and I'm announcing a Spider-Man Omnibus, or I'm wearing a green shirt and I'm announcing an X-Men Omnibus. So yes, please don't look into the ties too much. But this is one of those times that you should be looking at the tie, because I am going to be talking about Marvel's first family in not just one omnibus, but two omnis. That's right. So go ahead and smash that like button, please. But before I go any further, let others know where you get your breaking news in the world of the Marvel Collected Editions. I am going to be talking about the book that is coming out in June 1st, because this one, I don't want to say it's a long time coming, but it is joining the ranks of titles like The Amazing Spider-Man. And you'll see what I mean here in a second. Because coming in June of 2025, it is my absolute pleasure to get to announce the Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 6. Now you see what I mean, joining the ranks of Amazing Spider-Man, because that Omnibus Volume 6 is coming out next year, and so is the Fantastic Four. So we have something old and blue joining, and I guess something borrowed in one of these stories. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our standard edition cover first. And this standard edition cover is supplied by Jack the King Kirby, featuring Marvel's first family and Galactus. So let's go ahead and talk about the contents of the book. So this particular omnibus collects Fantastic Four 164 to 203, Fantastic Four Annuals 11 through 13, Marvel 2-in-1 number 20, Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 1, and What If 1, 6, and 11. So in here, you are going to find the works of Bill Mantlo and Roy Thomas, Jack Kirby, of course, George Perez, John Buscema, as well as Len Wein and our pal Sal Buscema, just to name a few of the artists that worked on the book, and writers like, oh, and also Mark Wolfman, just to name a few of the creators that worked on this particular omnibus. So let's go ahead and take a look at your direct market cover by one of those artists that I named, and that is the phenomenal George Perez, featuring this very iconic cover. What does that mean? Where are the Fantastic Four going? Well, that is one of the stories collected in here, but in here you're also going to see maybe there's a cure for the Thing. Maybe Luke Cage will end up joining the Fantastic Four. You're going to have the story with the Crusader. You do have the story with the High Evolutionary versus Galactus. I really enjoyed that one. You're going to have the return of the Negative Zone. You're going to have the return of almost said Doctor Strange. Does Doctor Strange? Doctor Doom for sure. Doctor Doom shows up through here. Thundra shows up through here. Tigra, the Mad Thinker, Annihilus making a return. You also have villains like the Salem 7, Claw, the Molecule Man, the Eliminator, and Quasimodo, and then, of course, bringing back the classic Doctor Doom, like I mentioned. But those are the kind of classic stories you're going to be seeing through this particular omnibus. You do have the fight with the Hulk and the Thing in here as well, which makes for an awesome story. But yes, this is post, Jack the King Kirby leaving the book, and then, of course, George Perez, Len Wein, and Roy Thomas, Marv Wolfman, Keith Pollard, working on these particular stories, and Big John Buscema, Rich Buckler. But we do have the Marvel 2 in 1 stories collected in here, as well as the annuals. Now, I wanted to talk about the one in June first because that is the classic book. That's the classic story. The one in May is newish, hasn't happened yet. You'll see what I mean. Because we've had from Marvel Comics Spider-Man 2099. We're getting Ghost Rider 2099. We have X-Men 2099 Omnibus. We have 2 Spidey 2099 Omnibus. So, finally, this one brings me a lot of joy to get to announce. It's one of my favorite 2099 titles. And there's 2 of them in this one. Coming in May of 2025. It's my absolute pleasure to get to announce Fantastic Four and Doom 2099 Omnibus. That's right. Both series together. Oh, I love that they did that. Doom finally coming out in omnibus format. Oh, if you've not read this series, you are in for a treat. Before I go any further, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the standard edition cover. And this is the cover to issue number 1 in the tradition of the Omnis that they're collecting with Spidey, X-Men, and Ghost Rider 2099. We're also getting this cover to issue number 1, provided by Pat Broderick, and of course featuring the character of Doom 2099. Oh, in such an iconic and awesome freaking stance too. Now, we do need to talk about what is collected in here. This is a big book. This collects all of Doom 2099 1 through 44 and Fantastic Four 2099 1 through 8, all of that series. Fantastic Four 413, material from 2099 Unlimited 5 through 8, 2099 Special World of Doom issue number 1. So all of that is collected in this omnibus. So you're getting all of Doom, all of the Fantastic Four, much like the case of X-Men 2099 collecting X-Nation. You're getting the whole series of the Fantastic Four in here. And the stories collected in here are very unique. I don't want to spoil what happens, but the character of Doom 2099 is unique, unlike the other characters that show up in the 2099 series, like Spidey or Ghost Rider or even the X-Men. But that's all I will say about Doom. And then, of course, Fantastic Four was the short-lived series that happened towards the end of the run. So let's go ahead and take a look at your direct market cover. So this direct market cover is supplied by Rick Leonardi and features, of course, the Fantastic Four 2099. Now, again, much like Doom, the Fantastic Four are unique in the way their stories are being told in this particular year. Now, in here, you are going to find the works of Carl Kessel, Ben Rabb, Terry Cavanagh, John Buscema, Rick Leonardi, Al Williamson. You're going to find the works of John Francis Moore, Warren Ellis, and Pat Broderick, and also Mary Jo Duffy, Tom Payer, and John Royal, just to name a few of the creators on this particular series. But yes, if you've never read the Spidey 2099 will always be my favorite, but Doom 2099 was a close second. Now, I'm curious how they'll collect the rest of the series. We're going to get a Punisher 2099, Ravage 2099, Hulk 2099, which was part of the Unlimited stuff. What's going to happen with the rest of the 2099 universe? Regardless how it happens, I'm ready for it. It is so cool to see all of these. It's weird to call them classic, but they did happen in 1993. So, oh my gosh, 30 years ago. Anyway, in the comments down below, let me know which books you're going to pick up, which covers you're going to get, what you think about the content, and if you have any questions, leave those down below. Smash that like button on the way out. Marvel's first family, getting 2 Omnis. That's great. And 2099. So, make mine Marvel.